peace. People don't normally recognize that or appreciate it until they lose it.
Aish.
When they don't have peace in their life, that's when they realize its worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful for opportunity to create positive impact in people's lives.
Wow.
I think I was created for this. So every single day, I get confirmation that I'm in the right direction. When I get someone acknowledging, appreciating, uh, whether it be from the success family or otherwise. So yeah, that's something I'm totally grateful for. And I never miss an opportunity to express gratitude. I don't need an excuse. But let's get into leveling up. In case you missed last week, when we spoke about level up, we're talking about there's so many people who are not happy with their station in life, with where they are in life, what they have achieved. Maybe they're not happy with their level of income. Maybe they're not happy at the level of business they're doing. Maybe they're not happy with even the company that they associate with. Maybe they're not even happy with the place where they live and the neighborhood where they are. And we were looking at that. So we started by looking at three aspects. We looked at why. You need a very strong why to get enough energy, enough impetus to push you out of your current situation to another situation. Because we spoke about inertia. Naturally, as human beings, we are creatures of habit, and you find that whatever we do over a period of time, it becomes part and parcel of us. And escaping from there is almost as difficult as escaping the force of gravity. Number two, we spoke about pain or purpose. Or passion, sorry, rather. So we're saying if you identify the significant pain in what you're going through, then it gives you the drive. And if you are really passionate, a passion is a strong feeling of hate or love for something. It can give you that energy. So before you embark on saying, I really want to change my situation and level up, tap into the pain or the passion that you already have. And then we spoke about perseverance, that you need to brace yourself for a marathon rather than a sprint if you're going to make a change to your situation. So that was part one. Shall I move on to part two?
Definitely eagerly waiting to hear more and to learn. We're also live on Facebook. You can join the conversation there. Yes.
Fantastic. So, looking at what's going on Facebook, if you get any comment or question, feel free to interrupt me at any point, and I'll be happy to respond to real issues that people bring up so that this talk is not just theory, but it's informed by the realities on the ground. So, I've got 9 points to make today, and I'm trying to be as organized as possible, more organized than I was last week. So, I'll mention each of the 9 points right now, and then I'll go through them in detail. Point number one is clarity. So, if you're taking notes, just write clarity, and then we'll talk a bit about it later.
Okay.
Point number two is source. 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 Where is the source? And then point number three is growth. Kukura. Growth. So write that down. And then point number four is get real. Get real. Point number five is realistic goal. Realistic goal. Point number six is start yesterday. Start yesterday.
That's how soon you should start.
Exactly.
As soon as yesterday.
Yeah. Point number seven is massive action. Massive action. And point number eight, celebration. Point number eight is celebration. And point number nine is a word that I can safely say I invented. And the word is stick with it ability. And that's one word. Stick with it ability. Right. So those are the 9 points. Let me go through them in detail. I want to make sure I cover all of them. Today I'm organized and I'm determined to be organized. More organized than I was last week. So clarity. Clarity is about understanding what we mean by leveling up and what we don't mean. So before this program started, I walked into the studio and there were people phoning in and sending in their voice notes about getting to an organization and feeling the environment and checking out the dressing of the people that are there, etc. And as a result of that, drawing a conclusion about that organization, whether you want to leave your CV there or you want to pursue the prospects of getting employed by that company. So with clarity, it's not about impression or image. I hope you get me right. If your desire to level up is informed by what you think other people will think when you think they are thinking of you, that's insufficient drive and motivation, and chances are you may not be able to pull through. So clarity is about realizing that when we talk about leveling up, we want it to start from within. It's not from outside. It's from within you. And it's not so much about what people are going to say or not say, because if you're on this journey, and it is a journey where you are pursuing a worthwhile goal, one that is significant and not small, then you'll go through a period when you might even need to level down temporarily. And if you cannot withstand the criticism that will come from people, then forget it. You won't make it. So clarity is to know that, you know what, I'm willing to pay a certain price for what I'm going to achieve. It's not going to come easy because it's significant. So be clear on what it is and what is not. It's not about just a lifestyle and image. No, it's about genuine transformation from within, regardless of what people will think or say about you, either now or in future. So that's number
So
one.
sometimes it's necessary to level down.
You
Yeah.
might, exactly. You may need to temporarily level down,
down.
based on what you're trying to pursue. So
Because sometimes people are more concerned about perception over what they're trying to pursue.
exactly.
People have to know that it's going on well.
Yeah. There was a
Yeah.
program way back, I think, you probably were not yet born. It was called Keeping Up Appearances. It was a British comedy.
Yes.
And there was this lady who was called Mrs. Bucket, but she preferred to call herself Mrs. Bouquet.
Yes.
And she went to extraordinarily ridiculous extents to portray a certain image. And in the end, it was just hilarious. So I find a lot of people in this country and maybe elsewhere spend way too much energy on creating impression rather than making real sustainable change in their lives. And for that, I'm saying it's great to focus on your image. You need it, definitely. But if you do it to the extent that it is distracting you from implementing real change in your life, then it's kind of misguided. But let me move on. I spent too long on clarity, but I'm explaining it further. Source explains it further. What is the source of the motivation for you wanting to level up? When I say motivation, I'm talking about an inner force that compels action. Pushwa from within, that I want this. Last time I spoke about how I hated the environment in which I grew up as a young person. That was an inner force that compelled me to do what I then did in life. So I'm saying here are different sources. If your source is external rather than internal, where you don't feel it inside, it's not you who wants to do it, but you want to do it because people say or somebody say, then it's not likely to have sufficient energy to sustain the change. So you'd rather have internal motivation rather than external. Abundance or scarcity. Is it coming from appreciation that, I got a lot of talent, I've got a purpose that God has given me, I've got opportunities, I can make a change, I can make impact in the world? Or is it coming from a place where it's, oh, poor me, people look down upon me, I really need to change the situation so that people will see me this? Is it coming from a place of abundance or scarcity? If it's coming from a place of abundance, you are more likely to sustain it. Is it coming from strength or from fear? So strength is that realization that, you know what, if I look at the talents that I have, the knowledge I've acquired, the skills that I have, the way I've proven myself in the past by delivering this, I believe I'm not where I'm meant to be. This is not the real me. This is today, but tomorrow I'm in a different place. You are coming from a different source than somebody who is like, you know what? I'm afraid that people, misjudge me, and I need to move up. So you really need to come from a position of strength rather than from a position of fear. And then principle versus pride. When I talk of principle, I'm talking about the golden rule. Golden rule says, do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you. So if you're going to pursue leveling up whilst you are going against the golden rule, you are cheating people, you're lying to people, you're stealing, you're whatever. I know in Zimbabwe it's become commonplace, which is a shame. That to me is not sustainable because we are where we are today as a result of chronic selfishness. So it's principle versus pride. Are you coming from a source of principle, or it's about pride and arrogance, about me above somebody else? Because for me, ultimate good for me should also be good for other people. If I'm having to climb over people in order for me to get to where I want to get, I personally believe it goes against my spiritual principles, and ultimately it works against everybody. Because for everyone to do well, we have to work for the greater good. And then fulfillment versus ego. Are you doing this for your ego? I know right now in Zimbabwe, the business is about flaunting. If you've got money, you must show off. You must flaunt. You must insult people. You must show them how poor they are and how rich you are. So is that a place you're coming from? Are you coming from a place of fulfillment that, you know what? I am like a seed. And if I am giving glory to God, then I need this seed to be planted, to be watered, to flourish and to produce fruits and to enrich the lives of many other people. So ultimately, here's the test: to see the source, should you fail in your attempts to level up, will it destroy you? Will it help you to learn something and start again? If you're coming from a place of ego, of fear, of pride, of scarcity, it will destroy you. Am I clear, V Candy?
Yes.
It will destroy you because of where you're coming from. The motive is not pure. Right, let me move on. So I'll be much faster now. Growth, that's point number 3. You cannot achieve sustainable outward growth without inward growth. What do I mean? If you're going to grow, you'll find that ultimately, and if you're going to grow in a way that is principled, right, you'll find that ultimately it starts by you growing, or it is at the same time happening as you are growing internally. Your mindset, for example. If you get exposed to certain experiences that open your eyes, you are growing. Wakuziva zvawanga usingazivi. Experiences can open your eyes. But the same can be said of knowledge. You study, you read, you go into class, you observe, you talk to people, you learn something, your knowledge is increasing. And I'm asking you, I think today is day number 40 since the year started? Just a moment, let me quickly check what day it is. And I'm asking you, on this day, so early in the year, what have you learned? Because learning is equivalent to growth. It's day number 45, by the way. Yeah. What have you learned? So growth is about changing your mindset. It's about acquiring knowledge, useful knowledge, and it's about getting skilled, additional skills. And you learn skills by doing and trying out things. And growth also occurs when you reflect, when you sit down to think. Sometimes you go through an experience, but if you haven't sat down to really unpack it, you don't learn from it. So you're more likely to level up when there's growth inside of you. You know, when I went into university, there's certain things that I didn't know. At the end of the 3 to 4 years in university, I had grown through knowledge, through a little bit of skill and exposure, through the internships that I'd done. And I'm saying it's the same with you in life. It doesn't matter, you might be in college, you might be in school. In the school of life, day to day, what are you learning? If you're not learning, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you are dying. So leveling up would be out of question when you're busy dying, right? Moving on to number 4, get real. Now, getting real is tough because it's about being courageous. You need to start by asking yourself, where am I? Read your reality. A lot of times we use euphemism. You know, euphemism is a nicer term for something that you're going through. Nora, I'm going to say, we didn't agree, instead of saying, I can't remember, right? Because it's more hurtful, but you have to get real. It's almost like Hollywood. You know, the Hollywood principle is, if you're ugly, you must stand by your ugliness, because when there's a part in the movie where they want somebody ugly, it's your part. You know, it's not about lying to yourself. So if you're actually going to level up, start by being real. Read your reality. Where am I right now? Right? Number 2, what has been the pattern of my life? So you'll find that most people have recurring patterns in their lives.
And that's so true.
Where you start by, maybe you're in the right direction, but something somewhere stops you. And 9 out of 10 times, it's you who stopped yourself. So you need to, as part of getting real, accept responsibility for your life. As long as you're blaming other people, circumstances, the environment, you will not level up. You will not be able to escape from that prison of your current level to the next level. So getting real is extremely important. Understand your situation. Name it for what it is. If the areas you have failed, say, I have failed here. And if the areas where you have let yourself down, say, I've let myself down. Even if letting yourself down meant that you trusted people too much, you still had the responsibility to choose who to trust or not to trust. Number 5 is realistic goal. Now, when we talk about realistic goal, a lot of people, because I'm from a motivational background, get infatuated by their goals, you know, the big goal, etc. And I've spoken about this before, but let's go over it. So, number 1, if your goal is realistic, it is backed up to some extent by evidence. We must see a track record of things you have achieved in the past that give us an indication that it is possible. Yes, there are exceptions, but exceptions by their very nature are exceptions, and they occur to a very tiny minority, very small probability. What's likely to happen is that you will not do things that are out of this world compared to what 7 other billion people in the world have done. So what is the evidence that shows that what you're aiming for you've done? So maybe you've never reached an income higher than 5,000, and you come to me and you say, by the end of April 2024, I want to have made $10,000. And I'm like, is this realistic? What's it going to take? And even people will argue with me, say, I know what I'm doing. You're trying to discourage me. You're supposed to be a motivational speaker. You should be encouraging me. And I say, all right, go ahead, do it. 99% of them never manage to hit that target because they're just unrealistic. So you need to look at, one, is it backed by evidence and your past experience and achievements? Low-hanging fruit, start by aiming low. And a lot of people overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term. I've got 4 others, but I think I'll unpack these in the next session. But let me just touch on them quickly. Start yesterday means the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is today. Never wait for the conditions to be right. Do what you can right here, right now, with what you have. Because I started speaking when? About 15 minutes ago, 19 minutes ago. Already you're 19 minutes older than you were when I started. And right now you are the youngest you will ever be. From now onwards, you're just getting older and older and older. So start now. And then I spoke about massive action and reflection. Let me talk about next time. Celebration of success. You have a responsibility to celebrate your success no matter how small, no matter how little. And finally, stick with it ability. You need perseverance with flexibility. And if you want to know about this, tune in next week and I'll cover the last 4 again because I haven't done justice to these.
Wow, thank you so much, Jonah Mungoshi there. A shot in the arm. We're also live on Facebook. You can go and rewatch this, leveling up, what it takes to move from your current level to a higher level. For those who want to reach you, Jonah, and any other information you may want to share before we let you go here.
The best way to be in touch with me is to join the Success Family. It's a WhatsApp group that you can join for free. And if you'd like to join, send the word join, JOIN, nothing else, just the word join to this number, 0773 056 736. Let me repeat that number, 0773 056 736, and we will level up.
Leveling up, level up, level up. Thank you so much. Looking forward to have you back again next week, same time. Star FM is sounding good all the time. It is the Morning Galaxy. Check your time with mine. It is 10 o'clock. Time for the news.